Pleasure mates, good evening and welcome back. So this tutorial is going to be a rehearsal or a revision of a previous one I did, and some persons complained that they could not see my marking or drafting because of the fabric I used and the chalk I used. So we are going to learn how to make a male palazzo trouser. Now, before we go into that, I believe you must have learned the basic trouser making procedure. Please, if you have not learned it, kindly go and watch my previous videos I made on how to draft and make a male trouser. Now, going further, now I want you to understand that the measurements we use in making the regular trouser and the palazzo trouser are similar, but they are not the same. Likewise, they are regular derivations of formulas. Now, here on the board, I have a client's real measurement of waist of 40, which is what we are going to use in drafting the male palazzo trouser. Please bear in mind that when you are making a male palazzo trouser, you have two options. One is either you use a belt on the waist or you use back elastic and front rope. Now, on two of these instances, you must make use of the waist measurement. Now, the only trouser that you don't use the waist value to mark is the one that will have all right round elastic and rope, which comes on rare demands, right? So if your customer is asking for all round elastic, you're not going to use your waist measurement. You're only going to use your hip in cutting that particular trouser. So here, since we are making the one that will have back elastic and front rope, we are going to use the waist measurement in drafting. I will show you the little adjustments you will do when you are cutting. Now, having said that, now the next we are going to have here is the hip. Now, this is the real hip of the customer. Every measurement you see on the board here are the real values of the person's regular trouser. But in making the palazzo trouser, there will be some increment in or on the hip value, the lap, and the length of trouser. Now, bear in mind that we don't use knee or ankle in cutting the trouser. That is the reason I did not list them on the board. Once you're making a male palazzo trouser, you don't use the knee measurement and the ankle measurement. What you will use is the value of your lap measurement, still depending on how big or how free you want the trouser to be. Some persons might prefer to have the moderate one, while some will want to have the pronounced palazzo effect, right? So whichever case you are going with, this is how you go about it. So now, what do you need to do here? On the hip measurement, you need to add extra 2 inches to the hip value. So here we are going to use a hip of 50 in drafting this particular trouser. Now the lap, we're going to use 30 inches, that's extra 1 inch or thereabout, to give you that little bit of freeness. Now, the next is the trouser length. Now, the length of the trouser is very essential because in most of these palazzo trousers, their leg normally have or has cuts or slits, either at the sideways or the front or the inner inseam area. So whichever one you want to do, it must be longer than the regular length of trousers, right? So here, we are going to use a length of 44 in drafting this, extra 2 inches from the original length. In most cases, you can even do 45. That's extra 3 inches. So, but please don't use the exact length of your person's regular trouser to make a palazzo trouser because it is usually longer than the real length. So, having said this, now before we proceed, also bear in mind that in getting the crotch of this palazzo trouser, you are not going to use the value of the extended hip to get it. You are going to use the value of the real hip to get the crotch of this particular person. So all crotch derivations comes from the original hip measurement. Please note this importantly. That is the reason I am making this introduction before we start drafting properly. So having said that, if you feel this video is interesting, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. My name remains Mr. Redefined. So let's go to the cutting video proper. All right, so here we have the fabric. Now this is a 2 yards of fabric, or you can still use 1 yard, and depends on the person's measurement. Then normally you mark out your baseline, which is the first thing we always do in all our drafting. Mark out your baselines. Your baselines are very essential that you mark them out, and they serve as the foundation to every new thing you are going to draft on this fabric. So mark out every line. So mark out here as well. So once you are marking out these areas, now the next you will do here is to add extra 2 inches here for the folding or hemming of this trouser. So you mark 2 inches here. You mark 2 inches here. This starts for folding or hemming. Please, very important for folding or hemming. Then connect the line this way. Then bear in mind that we agreed that the length of the trousers are not meant to be the same for the fitted trouser and the palazzo trouser. So here I'm going to use a length of 45 in drafting this. So 45-inch trouser length, you mark in this way. 45 inches, you mark in this way. Now, whether it has a slit or not, you must increase the length to a certain inch so that it will give you that freeness. And most times, some persons might decide to use a shoe that has heel so that it will cover or it will lap properly. So here, now to get a crotch, like I told you, use the real hip measurement. So the hip we have is 48 for the real hip. That's 12. You mark 12 here. And here, you also get the knee line, measure all through this way. Divide the distance into 2 equal parts. That's 16.5 minus 3. That's the constant value to get your knee position, right? Then here, you mark your knee line. And then here is your crotch line. Here is your crotch line. So once you have gotten these lines, they are very essential this way. Then you mark the bigger hip value. That's for the particular palazzo trouser you're making. That's 50 now. We agreed to use 50. So you mark 50 here and add extra 2 inches. Add extra 2 inches, right? So that is the constant. So now you get the gradient line. Now, the reason for this line is just to make sure that every value you are going to apply will be at the midpoint. Now, remember that we are going to use the real waist as well to draft this. Now, when you measure from the total distance here, it gave me 14.5. That's 725, right? 725 this way. Then mark all through this way. 725. Mark all through this way as well. 14.5. That's 725. After which you connect the line from here all through. Connect the line in this form. So this connection is just to get the midpoint, or what they call the gradient line. You can still ignore it if you don't wish to do it. So here, like I told you guys, we don't use the hip value, the knee value and the ankle value to cut the regular palazzo trouser. But here, if your customer requests for a moderate trouser, you now have to measure the knee in a bigger measurement. So if we are going by the value of that our regular trouser, all you need to do is just to take down the line here. That from this point, you measure whatever value you have, 14.5, transfer it to the ankle this way, and then you connect this way. You connect. So this would have been the drafting if we are making the one that will be so big or pronounced this way. So you now mark your waistline. The waist we have is 40. So you mark 10.5, that's divided by 4, 10.5 this way, plus extra 1 inch. Always put 1 inch here. Remember that this will have belt, this will have zip and elastic at the back and rope in front. So you mark in this form. Then with your hip cuff, you raise this line to come up in this direction. Now, please note importantly that when you are drafting your trouser, you are going to mark extra 2 inches from here up, or 3 inches. This serves for actual hip point. So this line would have been drawn across this way. But because of the fact that it does not really have anything much to do here, so that's why I don't draw or mark this line, right? So if you wanted to mark or cut the palazzo trouser that has that, free wide leg as you want, you go all through this way. Why, if you want to have a trouser that is a bit moderate, so like it's big but not too big, so what you do is you measure the hip, the knee to be a bit bigger. So my actual knee of this client is 19, 18, 19. So you can do 21, 22. So if it's 22, that's 11, right? So 11 is 5.5, 5.5. You get, so you mark and then bring it in and then take the same knee value and go down. I think we are going to cut out this in this form, or we can still reduce, but I'm just trying to show you how you can go about your drafting so that you don't have any issue. So okay, let's complete the drafting. So here you mark half an inch for your waist slanting. You must slant the waist point. It's very important. You slant in this form. So the next you will do is the pocket depth. So here is going to be 7 inches or 7.5. So let's do 7.5 this way, and here will be 2.5. So this is basically how to draft the front panel of a male palazzo trouser. So like I said, if your customer does not want to have the bogus one, you will reduce, like you remove some inch on the knee and on the ankle. So let's reduce so that it will be moderate, not this wide, right? This will be better on the Ankara type of trousers. So here we are going to, this we have here is 7.7. So we are going to do it 5.5, 5.5. That's 22, right? I decided. So whatever value you have, you now apply. So, but then the trick here is that any value you use on the knee must be used on the ankle so that it flows down straight. The ankle can never be smaller than what you have on your knee. So here you connect in this form. You connect in this form, this way. So the reason I am showing you this in detail is for you to learn this from me so that you don't have any issues again when drafting male palazzo trouser. So here you connect the crotch extension to your new knee point. So it goes all through this way. And then here as well, it comes from here and goes all through this way. So this is how I will cut out this, right? So let's cut out this and then I'll show you how to draft the back panel as well. Right, so here we are done cutting the front panel. So to cut the back panel, now the simplest thing to do here is to extend the crotch line from here, extend it all through this way. And then here we are going to add extra 2 inches here at the crotch extension. And at the back panel here, you add extra 2.5 or 3. Now the reason you are adding extra 3 here is to give elastic the effect to contract and expand, right? Normally you add extra 1.5 for your normal sewing. So here we're adding extra 3. So this 3 is like 6 inches that we are adding because we are going to use half an inch to lock the back panel and then elastic we do the rest compression, right? So here you go ahead to add extra 3. Here you can add 2.5 or 3 as well, and the crotch at the hip region. However, so you go all out. You go all out in this form, this way. Now the back extension is very essential that you add 3 here so that it gives you that room for elastic. Now the back waistline, you must raise it by 4 inches, by 4. Now, why is it 4? Because of the fact that but the back band is being cut together with the back panel, right? It's a whole lot easier to cut the back elastic together, to do the back band together with the back panel, so that you don't stress yourself with the by trying to add band or put band on the long run. So you just need to cut only the front band as we progress. So here, now, once you have achieved this, then you add extra, 1.5 is what you are going to add at the point of this area, 1.5. You can still decide to add 2 inches, right? But there's no need, since we are making it to be a free trouser. Now, please note importantly, if we had used the value where the crotch extension went down straight, we wouldn't have added any 1.5 along this line. What you would just do on that case is to add only 2 inches here, and it will end flush on the knee point. The leg area will be the same with the trouser, right? So with the front panel. So after that, you use your hip extension, hip curve, and extend these lines in this form. Just extend them all out in this form. So I believe that this video must have given you a clearer understanding of the previous one I made about this Palazzo trouser. So don't forget, if you are deriving value from this video, don't forget to like this video, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. It's very important that you do all of that for me. That's the only way you can, show appreciation. Then you cut out from here. You carefully cut out from here. Then cut the sides all through here. Cut the sides all through here. Cut the sides all through here. Cut it all through this way. Cut. So now, the reason I am taking my time to explain, like I said, is to make sure that you understand the jerk. Like, you won't have issues again. So if we get Palazzo trouser, please use this my method and cut it. It will work. It must work, as long as you pay attention to the whole explanations I gave, the detailed explanations I gave. Please, very important, right? So you also cut out slits here, slits here. So because of the fabric was exact of what we needed, so you slit here all through. So the next video you will see will be on the gumming process and subsequently the sewing process. So don't forget, please, to like this video, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. So this band will now be folded 1/2 inch first. Then you fold here the value of the band. So when you add the back front band, it comes and joins here. So, and you are done. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Bye bye for now.